On today's show, the Mavericks get a win against the Raptors. Anthony Davis goes off, but is Anthony Davis enough for the Mavericks to move on this season? We'll talk about that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm gonna get a city like that.
Dogs, all of us, all five.
You are Locked On Mavs, your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't.
Your team every day.
Gotta be born with a dog love.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years. Thanks for being an everyday or making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. Locked On Mavs brought to you by DoorDash. Go check out DoorDash. See what you can get. If a player scores 50, you get 10%, half off your next order, up to $10 off. Go check it out at DoorDash. You must have a Dash Pass. And joining me, as always, my partner in crime, the postgame prodigy from the Great Slightly Biased YouTube channel. What you got for me, Slightly Biased?
Well, it was a tough game for me coaching on the sidelines, basically, and we got a win, and that's all that matters. We're really proud of our boys, and
that's true.
You know, we'll watch the film and get ready for Sunday.
That's right. We'll have a film watch with them. Slightly and I were sitting courtside for this one. Had a great time. Had a great view of this game.
Yeah, we did. We got to know everything, and we worked the refs.
That's right.
Or at least I worked the refs.
We'll talk about this Mavs game against the Raptors, kind of the Raptors. We'll talk about Brandon Williams' return. We'll talk about Jaden Hardy's return, Dante Exum's return, and the Mavericks getting healthy at the right time. We'll talk about that too. But let's start here slightly. Anthony Davis, almost a quadruple-double in this game. 23 points. He gets the double-digit rebounds, double-digit assists, and he had 7 blocks. He could have came in and got the rest of them. But we saw that historic type line, the only player to get that line in 31 minutes. And I started to think about Anthony Davis, and you think about his game the other day against the Lakers, and you think about what's ahead of the Mavericks right now. The Mavericks are playing for their lives. They have the Grizzlies next, and they have to win that game. It depends on if the Kings win tonight or not.
Let's get the 9 seed.
We're recording before we know, but if the Mavs do win that game, the Grizzlies and the Kings lose both their games, and the Mavericks will get 9th, that matters for them.
Yep.
But then ahead of the Mavericks is a playing game against the Kings, 100% against the Kings.
Yeah.
And they're going to need Anthony Davis to go off. And Anthony Davis historically has not been good against Sabonis teams. That is something that's been a team that he's really struggled against. And so I'm looking at Anthony Davis and looking at a game like this and then looking at a game like against the Lakers and going, all right, we need this Anthony Davis that showed up tonight and not the one that showed up against the Lakers in order for the Mavericks to do anything in a playing game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a reminder that this is a guy who was a consensus top 10 player before the trade happened. Like, he was a guy who was probably considered by most a top 7 player in the league before the trade happened. And a guy who, we've talked about this, Lakers fans have talked about this, kind of a frustrating player because you get games like this directly followed by a game where you're left wanting much more out of him, right? And that's just kind of who AD is. And, I don't know how much of a coincidence. I think it'd be interesting to see this game just ended so we don't get some of these stats. But I'd be really interested to see the Exum, who didn't play a lot of minutes, but Exum AD lineups. Because it felt like Exum set up AD a few times with some hit-ahead passes, some post-entry passes where it's just like that hasn't been an option over the last few games for the Mavs without a legitimate playmaker point guard. And, AD was good tonight, and this is a Raptors team that's terrible. And
just weren't playing anybody. They played
they're
Scotty
actively
Barnes,
trying to lose games.
Played Scotty Barnes and didn't play anybody else, basically.
Actively trying to lose games as hard as possible. So it's great to get a win. It's great to close out what will probably be the last home game of the season. Close it out with a big win, and AD goes off nearly a quadruple-double. I mean, honestly, why not keep him out there? You
would have left him out there?
At this point, what are we doing? Like, would you feel better as a Mavs say, hey, we rested AD, but you know what? We tried really hard in that 9-10 game and just lost to the Kings on the road versus, like, AD got a quadruple-double in the last home game. Like, that was fun. The first one since the 90s.
I think Stein tweeted he would have been the 5th player ever with a quadruple-double.
Yeah, it hasn't happened a lot. I remember Giddey almost got one a few weeks ago against the Lakers. He had, I think, 8 steals or something like that. So it's something that's kind of been close, and every time he gets close, you're like, oh, my God, we almost
just leave him.
Saw a quadruple-double tonight. But, yeah, it was kind of one of those, like, classic, I don't want to compare these two, but Luka games where it's just like, it reminds you how good AD is because it's the game, it ends, and you look at his stat line, you're like, oh, my goodness. Like, it didn't even, like, it felt like he was controlling the game, but it didn't feel like it was that dominant of a game because that's just how good he was.
And so you look at Anthony Davis, I think your point is right about Dante Exum coming back. He needs to be fed the ball. AD just can't set up at the 20-foot mark or the 18-foot mark and just try to go to work and just try and get something to happen. He has to have a Dante Exum to to run pick and rolls off of. He's got to play off Spencer Dinwiddie a little bit more. I think he plays well with Lively and Gafford. If you have some shooters around him, then all of a sudden he can play off of those. He threw a great lob to Lively in this game.
Yeah.
And it's just going to take time for the offense to come together. The Mavs don't really have that time right now, which is what we've been saying the last couple of weeks. It's like, all right, the Mavs are just running out of time here to make anything happen. But you're bringing Exum back. I guess you bring a Hardy back. Dinwiddie didn't play in this game, but when we see Dinwiddie, and then Brandon Williams, who we'll get into, you bring those guys back, and all of a sudden there's some more guard play that the Mavericks just desperately needed. And honestly, AD needs that. AD needs that to unlock his game a little bit. He can't just be the one bringing up the ball. It can't be even a Naji Marshall. It can't be a PJ Washington bringing up the ball and trying to set up the offense. It's got to be a guard that sets the table basically for him.
Yep, 100%. And we've said that. We've known that. And you saw it on display tonight. And again, you got to preface it. It's against a Raptors team where it's Jonathan Mobo and –
Whoa. Don't go against my guy Mobo.
Okay. And
with the most unique shoes in the NBA.
AJ Lawson, who did acknowledge me courtside. I was like, AJ, we miss you. And he was like, at first he heard me, and then he didn't want to acknowledge me because he just heard AJ and he didn't know what was coming. But then he heard the miss you part. He goes, oh, hey.
He did. He looked right at Slightly, and he was like, thanks, bud.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, we do miss you. And then Nick goes, and you did say this. Nick goes, do we?
I did say that. I'm not gonna lie.
I was like, yeah.
They have a lot of wings right now. That's the problem. They need more. The Mavs need more guards.
But we're happy for AJ though that he's found a home somewhere.
Yeah, and seems to be doing well there and playing for his hometown team with the Raptors and all that, and that's great for him.
And him and Omax were chopping it up for a long time after the game.
Well, I mean, what else?
Tampering.
Tampering. Will you take that tampering?
If AJ Lawson's playing extended minutes on this team for whatever reason next year, then I don't know if I'm on this show anymore, or I don't know. I might be just selling cars.
Is there any? Are you taking any solace in a win like this? That there was just a dominant win. That the Mavs just ran away with it. That the Mavs just rolled them.
Given how things have gone, I want to sit here and be like, yeah, that was great and that was awesome, but. Again, this is a Raptors team that's desperately trying to lose. So it is hard to take a lot from it, but it does show you, though. It's just AD's really good. We know that, right? And he has his lulls. He's not Luka's going to score 30 points every game, and we know that. Even when Luka has a bad game, we look at the box score, and he had 30, 12, and 9, right? Like, that's not AD.
If that's what you're comparing it to, it's going to be different.
Right, yes, and that's going to be a comparison for the remainder of Anthony Davis's time here.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately for him, and I've mentioned this before, I feel bad for him because of that. Like, I do. I feel bad. I know the expectations for him. I know everything. Like, it sucks holding AD to those standards because it's not fair to him whatsoever. But that's the unfortunate position that he's been put in. And, yeah, I mean, maybe a game like that just goes to show, like, this guy's very good at basketball, like, insanely good at the sport. Lively's very good at basketball. Gafford's very good at basketball. And there is the skeleton of a team that's good here, right? It's just you're missing your lead ball handler, and you're missing maybe another ball handler on top of that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it maybe even highlights to me that they just need another one. They need another offensive creator in some way.
Yeah.
Because you even get just, a Brandon Williams or a Dante Exum or somebody like that back, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, this just opens up so much because you have one more initiator.
Right.
But they need one more in a starting lineup capacity.
They do.
As of right now. I thought it was a good game for Max Christie. He had 17 points in this one. Thought it was a pretty active game from him. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Exum's return, Brandon Williams' return, what we saw from those guys. Let's get into all that and more coming up. Today's Locked On Mavs. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by DoorDash. Go check out DoorDash because right now, if they swoosh you safe, if they drop 50 points or more in a game, you score huge on the next day at DoorDash. You can get 50% off an order up to $10 off the next day from noon to midnight. Take advantage of that deal. If anybody goes off for 50, you got to watch for that. Simple. When any player scores that, you get to score the next day. You must have an active Dash Pass to sign up and to be eligible for that. When a player scores 50 or more in a game, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order on the next day, up to $10 off. Just use the promo code NBA50. That's NBA, the letters, then number 50, NBA50 from noon to midnight after a 50-point game on eligible orders of participating merchants. Must have an active Dash Pass account. Terms apply. Visit DoorDash to learn more. Also brought to you by GameTime. If you want to be balling like Slightly and sit courtside.
Yeah.
You want to check out a game or go to a Stars game. The Stars are actually in the playoffs, like the actual playoffs. You want to do that, check out GameTime. They have all kinds of great deals and ticket matchups and things like that. You get Game Time picks. They'll show you the best deals right up front. You got to love that. They also have last-minute deals. Save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, all kinds of other stuff too. Check it out at Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONNBA to get $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, what we call our listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show. We'll be doing shows all through the offseason. I just want to make sure everybody knows. This may be the last Mavs home game that we're here, but we'll continue to do shows. Slightly will be on the show. Isaac and I will be doing shows. We'll be doing draft shows. We'll be doing free agencies. Slightly, I just spoke for you. You still want to do this?
Well, so I just saw something. Yes, I do. But I just saw something where I feel bad because we just said, I don't know how much you could take from a game like this.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Timberwolves are playing the Brooklyn Nets, who are also trying to lose games right now. Rudy Gobert had 35 points.
Stop.
I swear. 35 points for
NBA points?
Yes.
On American soil?
35 NBA points. Not touchdown points, but 35 NBA points.
That's when you got to go back and go to NBA.com and like watch every single one of them and be like, all right, how did this happen?
Yeah, that's what like a trivia question 8 years from now. You're like, Gobert 35.
Is that his high?
I think he scored that before from what I just saw on Twitter, but
maybe if you count screen assists too. Like,
first Gobert 30-piece since 2017. So, anyways,
wow.
Mavs beat the Raptors.
Mavs beat the Raptors. We saw Brandon Williams return. We saw Dante Exum return. We saw Jaden Hardy return. Who stood out to you?
Brandon Williams, and he also acknowledged me.
That's right.
That was the two players.
Is that why he stood out to you?
Yes. Two players and a ref acknowledged me, AJ Lawson and Brandon Williams. I congratulated Brandon Williams on his contract. And, yeah, he was great. I mean, he is.
He was like, he looked over and he's like, good looks. He's like, yeah.
Yeah. He was like, thank you. I was like, no, dude, thank you. But no.
He said, come coach the team.
I was like, I already am. Hey, get back on defense. But no, in terms of the hierarchy in guards, well, Hardy's coming back from an injury, so I don't know how much you can put stock in that. But Hardy only played garbage time.
Right.
And, Exum got his minutes. I want to say the first guard off the bench, but I could be wrong off the top of my head.
He came in the second quarter.
Yeah, okay, he did come in the second quarter, but obviously coming back from an injury as well. And, yeah, Brandon Williams was fantastic. I mean, he's 7 of 8 from the field, 17 points, and it's just the craftiness, the finishing around the rim that really, I mean, it's almost blasphemous to say, but outside of Kyrie, you don't have a finisher like that on the team.
Yeah.
Right? And obviously you don't compare anyone at a finishing level to Kyrie Irving, but Brandon Williams has that type of ability, and you see it. It's absorbing contact. It's the crazy sort of, hang up in the air, get the bump, and then do the, the crazy spit, the jelly off the glass.
Yeah.
He's incredible at it, and just that guard who can put pressure on the rim is really important for this team, especially with a guy like AD on the floor. So Brandon Williams stuck out to me. He's here. Like, he's on the team now. He's a 2-year contract guy.
He can play.
Right, and he's on the team next year. Like, going into the season next year,
true.
He's under contract. So I'm super happy for him because we were Google searching it on the sideline. It's like a $50,000 contract to
a 10-day contract.
To now you're approaching being a millionaire. So, like, I'm just happy for him, and he really deserves it. So, shout out to Brandon Williams.
Great opportunity for him, absolutely. He made the most of his 2-way contract for sure. But the Mavericks, they just desperately needed him in a huge way. Just anybody that can create that north-south,
absolutely,
and score in that way right at the rim, like you said, create some kind of drive gravity. I don't know. Do we call it that? I don't know if anybody really calls it that.
No, that's definitely a thing.
Well, that's kind of what it is.
Vertical gravity,
right?
getting to the rim and collapsing the defense.
And they just needed somebody besides Dinwiddie to be able to do that, because Dinwiddie is kind of the only guy that does that in a real way on this team now that's still healthy. And
Naji, but it's different.
True. Yeah, true.
Because Naji can't shoot, so it's a different type of gravity.
Yeah, so having Brandon Williams, having him as a shooter out on the perimeter, having him as a ball handler, having him just as an option. So when AD and Gafford are trying to do their thing down low, they kick out. Brandon Williams can do multiple things off the dribble, not just drive, not just shoot, but both of them. And so I think that's important. It was good to see him back. It was good to see him in a Mavs jersey. He seemed happy to be back. He seemed excited to be playing. He seemed aggressive, which is what the Mavs need. This is a game where they need him to be aggressive and get stuff going. And it was good to see Dante Exum back. We saw some good passes from him that I thought, you're like, oh, my gosh, the Mavs have been missing a playmaker like that. And I don't know if that's just really sad to bring that up.
It is sad.
But they needed a passer and a playmaker like him.
Yeah, and that's it with Exum. That's all I care about with Exum. He hit a 3. He hit a couple threes in this game.
2.
That's cool. the passing is, especially when you're running all these bigs, you got to have a facilitator on the floor. And Exum is good at that. So it's good to have him back. It's surprising that he's back. I mean, that's, to me,
I thought he was out the season.
I thought he was out the season. I swore that was what was reported. I didn't even hear the contradictory reports until I saw that he was active for the Lakers game. I was like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah, it was like he had surgery, and so you're like, okay, well, there's only a couple weeks left of the season. He must be out.
I thought Shams straight up reported he was out for the season. And maybe I misremembered.
And then all of a sudden he was questionable for that Lakers game. And I go, wait, what? He's questionable?
Well, that's the Lakers thing. You didn't know that?
Players do come back for the Lakers game.
Everyone comes back. But
he didn't play, though.
He didn't play, but there is, strangely enough, there are stats that do back it up.
No, they're right. JJ Redick brought that up recently, where it's like players, if they're going to come back from injury, they wait, and then they come back to play the Lakers, which, hey, if you're going to be the star attraction, you're going to have players come back and want to face you.
But it's also funny because I've said I don't laugh at any Lakers fans' delusional takes anymore or anything crazy they say, because you know what? Go for it, guys. Who knows?
Whatever you want.
Maybe, guys. There was a clip going around of Luka dapping up Gafford after the Lakers game. He's like, "We'll play again soon." All Lakers fans are like, "He's coming." And I'm like, you know what, guys? Maybe. I don't know. It's possible. Who's under contract for you guys? What's Markeef's number? Maybe that's a trade.
I took that to mean Slovenia.
I thought that's exactly what it meant as well. But you know what? Who knows?
I know. Who knows?
Maybe.
Well, Gafford, who would you trade?
Well, the trade that was going around, the Bleacher Report trade, was Gafford, Clay, and a pick for Reeves.
Oh.
And I would do that in a heartbeat. And no offense, but I would do that in a heartbeat. But
the only thing about trading
Lakers would not do that.
The only thing about trading Gafford is 80 and Lively are just so injury prone.
Yeah, that's true.
But you can deal with having just one of them.
But then it's kind of what if they're not injured, and now we have Gafford playing
like 20 minutes.
Right, and he's too good for that. And also,
but he was playing 23, 24 minutes.
But you got to factor this in. He's going to be expiring next year, and if I'm Gafford's agency, I'm kind of thinking I don't want you playing 14 minutes.
Yeah, I want to start and I want to be featured.
Like you're good. You can get paid,
and I want to be fed by Luka.
Yeah, I'd say if we get you to LA, you're making a lot of money.
Yeah, right. Your second game courtside.
Yeah,
the Mavs are 2-0. Something or nothing.
A lot. They're 4-0 this season when I'm here, which, hey, they're going to finish the season below 500, so that's something. And going back to last postseason, I think they're like 10-2 or something.
Wow.
And you got to understand, guys, I'm not just sitting there. I was working the refs during the game. The refs acknowledged me. I was working the refs. The refs come down. I'm like, can we get a call? And granted, the game was very fairly officiated. I didn't think there was a single problem.
No, there was nothing to call. They only took like 12 free throws each.
Literally not a single problem with the officiating. But you got to work the refs, right? And wouldn't you know it, immediately after they get a foul call, and then the refs winked at Nick because they thought Nick was the one who said it.
He winked at me like 4 times.
Yeah, maybe he just thought Nick was cute. Who knows?
I mean,
who can blame him? Am I right, guys?
What did you take away from being so close and seeing everybody up close? Seeing the bench and all that.
Want to know what one of my big takeaways was? Caleb Martin is a good basketball player.
Wow.
Like, that was one of the things I was noticing.
You okay with the Grimes trade now?
Well, I don't know. Grimes is great, but I go alongside. I don't think Grimes was staying. Like, I think he was going to get a number that put the Mavs. And here's the thing you have to understand. Yes, they could have matched Grimes, but would have put the Mavs in a very sticky situation with the aprons and all of that. And that's a thing teams are straight up avoiding as best as they can.
Yeah.
Okay, so keep that in mind, right? But I think Caleb Martin's a very solid basketball player. I don't even know what his stat line was tonight. But just watching him, I thought his connective playmaking is very good. When the ball swings to him, he attacks, rotations. He gets the ball moving. He's making plays defensively, whether that's tipping a pass or getting a steal. Like, he makes things happen. I do think he's a very solid basketball player. The stats do not jump out at you or anything like that, but I just think he's a good basketball player. Is he as good as Quentin Grimes? I don't know. I'm not going to go. I don't want to go into that really because I know that's what people are going to say, but I think he's a good basketball player, and that was one of the things I actually noticed was like Martin's like a good player.
He's a good connective tissue guy.
Yeah.
And I think for him, Grimes would be better on this team as it's currently like on the court right now. Caleb Martin's going to be better on a team with Kyrie and AD.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they would need Grimes' scoring right now, but Caleb Martin, 8 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals in this game. Did a lot of different things. And he hit 2 threes. You need him hitting that 3. That's going to be so huge. You need him with his little kick-out feet.
How are you -1 in a 30-point win?
Okay, well, that's –
I'm sorry, 22.
Single game plus minus doesn't matter now.
It doesn't matter
when it doesn't serve us.
It doesn't matter.
But I agree. I think that he's a connective tissue guy for sure. Dwight Powell was really locked into Canada.
Was he actually?
Yeah.
Well, he's Canadian, so
That's
does
right.
make
No,
it.
he was really.
And I feel like with the tariffs now, every nation's locking in. Like if you're not American and the anthem's going, you're really locking in at a different level now. It's
That's
changed.
right.
The dynamic has changed.
That's right.
Well, can I say the crowd tonight, packed house, and it got the loudest moments were free throws in the fourth quarter
to get free chicken.
Free
of course,
chicken, always the loudest.
As always.
But low key, when Dwight Powell checked in, it was pretty loud. Like it did get pretty loud. So there's that. And I don't know if it's ironic or what, but it was like pretty. I feel like one person started clapping like Dwight, and everyone's like, "Yeah, we do love Dwight."
I will say one cool thing sitting courtside that you don't really think about. All the game ops people, the people that throw the T-shirts and stuff like that, were all wearing Kyrie's. They've always worn Luka's since Luka's had his own shoe, and they were wearing Kyrie's. This was the first game, so I thought that was a really cool thing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's what you want to see. I mean, you've Kyrie's, low-key kind of a lot of signature sneakers. Kyrie's, Clay's got one.
Clay's.
Spencer Dinwiddie has one.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I could be missing one.
Yeah.
But, 3 guys having a signature sneaker on one team.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. We need to see Spencer Dinwiddie shoes next time.
Do you want to?
Mogbo was wearing
Mogbo has Jonathan Mogbo of the Raptors is the only player wearing Ready Player One.
Serious players only.
What is the serious players only?
Ready Player One.
He's the only one wearing those shoes in the NBA.
We were trying to figure out. I was like, what shoe? I was like, are those
The logo
Reeboks?
looks so much like a Reebok or like something like that.
Like
And
Reeboks? We don't see starter. And I was like,
Yeah,
they,
but
they
it
didn't
just
even have
wasn't
starter basketball shoes.
he's got his own ones.
Yeah, shout out to him.
How are you feeling about the playing game right now
I don't think they'll win personally
against the Kings? The thing I said at the beginning, AD has not been historically good against Sabonis.
Well, I'm not even worried about AD in that game. What I'm worried about is Zach LaVine gets hot from 3 for
DeRozan goes
for
off.
4 minutes. Yeah, and DeRozan has a stretch where he scores 16 points in 10 minutes of game time. And it's like, how are you responding to that? Like, what are you producing offensively to respond to that? That's really where I'm at. And, I mean, it's a one-game elimination thing. Realistically, anything could happen. So, I'm hopeful, but I don't, I'm not like betting the house on it.
I think my takeaway from this game, thinking about the play-in game, is that everybody's coming back. You got Exum back. You got Brandon Williams signed again. You got Hardy back, which is you just need some depth.
So are they going to do anything else for the extra? Do they have to wait till the 12th to sign these guys, or can they sign another guy tomorrow?
No, now they have 15 players.
Okay, so now
they
they're
have 15 players on the roster, so now it's set.
Okay. So that's interesting.
Unless they waive somebody, which I don't think that they
No,
can.
they're not going to waive. Exum was the only guy who was possible, but
Yeah,
no
now they need him, so they're not going to do that. So yeah, now the roster is set. We'll do some more stuff before the playing game. Obviously, we'll do a crossover with Locked On Kings probably. Go watch Slightly Biased stream. Great stuff happening all the time on Slightly Biased YouTube channel. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. We'll continue to have more shows. We'll do a post-game show after the Grizzlies game and more stuff. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Peace out. Boom.
Playing.